The stars above Theox shined like cold diamonds. Ravi stood at the edge of the wide platform, looking at the alien city in front of him. Tall towers made of dark stone and glowing blue lights reached toward the sky. Around him, the Valeri people watched in silence. They were tall, strong, and proud. Their eyes were sharp, and their movements full of grace and discipline. Ravi was nervous. He was the youngest member of Earth's peace mission. It had taken 5 years of training just to be selected. Now he was here representing humanity. On a planet where humans were still not fully trusted, the welcome ceremony was quiet but serious. Valeri warriors stood in 2 straight lines, dressed in silver armor. In the center, on a raised platform, stood their leader Elder Thoros. His voice was deep and clear as he spoke in his language. Ravi's translator device whispered the meaning. In his ear, "Welcome, humans. May this be the beginning of truth between our worlds." Ravi nodded politely. He walked forward to greet them, just as he had practiced. But as he stepped toward the center, he tripped slightly over the edge of a step. He tried to catch his balance on in doing so. His hand lightly touched the arm of a Valeri warrior standing nearby. Her skin was cold and smooth like polished metal. Ravi immediately pulled his hand back and muttered, "Sorry." But it was too late. The warrior turned sharply. Her glowing blue eyes locked onto Ravi with sudden fire. The crowd gasped. The drums stopped. Silence fell over the entire platform. Ravi froze. The warrior's voice cut through the air. Low and sharp. "Touch me once, and I won't spare you, human." Her words hit Ravi like a slap. He stood there speechless, heart pounding in his chest. Her face was calm, but her voice was full of warning. There was no smile, no kindness, just control and strength. Ravi tried to speak, but no words came out. He had read about Valeri customs. He knew they had rules about touch and respect, especially during ceremonies, but he hadn't meant to offend. It had been an accident. The warrior took a step back, eyes still fixed on him. Her silver skin seemed to shimmer in the light. Short, dark hair moved slightly in the soft wind. She looked powerful, like someone born to lead. Elder Theros raised his hand. Enough. The crowd relaxed, just a little, but the silence remained thick. Elder Theros looked at the warrior. You know the rules, but you also know the human meant no harm. So, her name was Zara. She didn't move. Forget tradition, Elder. Touch during a vow ceremony cannot be ignored. Theros looked at Ravi. You are young, but you must understand. On Theox, such contact during our sacred rites is seen as a challenge. Ravi's eyes widened. I didn't. No, it was a mistake. Zara finally spoke again. Mistake or not, tradition must be honored. Theros nodded. Then the path is clear. The human must face the trial of honor. The crowd stirred. Some whispered. Some nodded with approval. Ravi didn't understand. Trial of honor? What does that mean? Zara stepped forward. You broke a rule. Now you must prove your worth. You can choose to return to your ship in shame, or you face the trial. Ravi looked around. Faces stared at him, unreadable. He didn't come this far to run away. He took a deep breath. What does the trial involve? Zara's voice was cold. 7 days in the dark zone. With me. No weapons, no lies. Survive that, and you earn respect. Ravi blinked. With you? She nodded. Yes, the one you touched. It's the one you challenged. Ravi wanted to protest. He wanted to explain again that it was an accident. But something in Zara's eyes stopped him. She wasn't just angry, she was curious. Watching him closely, testing him already. I accept, Ravi said finally. Gasps rose in the air. Even Zara looked surprised for a second, but she quickly hid it. Theros raised both hands. Then it is decided. At sunrise, you both enter the dark zone. Let honor be your guide. The crowd bowed and slowly left. Ravi stood alone on the platform. Still trying to understand what just happened, as he turned to leave, Zara walked past him without a word. But just before she disappeared into the shadows, she looked over her shoulder and said, 7 days, human. Let's see if you last even one. Ravi sighed, wasn't sure what scared him more, the dangerous dark zone, or the warrior who would be walking beside him. But deep inside, something else stirred, a spark of curiosity, a challenge, and maybe, just maybe, a chance to show that humans weren't weak. He didn't know it yet, but that one small mistake was about to change everything for him, for Zara, and for two very different worlds. The night before the trial was quiet. V sat inside a small guest room provided by the Valeri Council. The walls were made of smooth black stone. A single light above him hummed gently. He couldn't sleep. His heart was still racing from what had happened during the ceremony. He had only wanted to greet them with respect. One small touch, one wrong step, and now he was going into a dangerous place with a warrior who clearly didn't like him, the Dark Zone. He had read about it during training. It was a wild region on Theox, filled with strange creatures and broken land. Even the Valeri didn't go there without reason. It was a place used for trials, punishments, or exile, and now he had to survive there for 7 days. With Zara, Ravi closed his eyes and took a deep breath. This is not a mission anymore, he whispered to himself. This is survival. The next morning, just before sunrise, Ravi stood at the edge of the city. In front of him was a large stone gate. Beyond it lay a thick forest that seemed darker than night. A cold mist floated over the ground. Strange sounds echoed from inside, clicks, growls, and whispers carried by the wind. Zara was already waiting. She wore a simple black outfit, light but strong. Her long blade was strapped across her back, though she didn't carry any advanced weapons. Just like the rules said, no modern tech, no shields, no help. When she saw Ravi, she didn't smile. She just nodded once. You came, she said flatly. I said I would, Ravi replied, trying to keep his voice steady. You can still go back. No shame in that. Many warriors would. Ravi looked at the dark path ahead, then back at her. I'm not here to run. I'm here to learn and survive. Zara's eyes narrowed. We'll see. The guards opened the stone gate. Without another word, Zara walked in. Ravi followed. The gate closed behind them with a loud echo that sounded like the start of something dangerous, inside the dark zone. The air was thick and strange. The trees were tall and twisted with glowing vines and giant roots. The ground was uneven, full of holes and sharp stones. Ravi felt as if the land itself was watching them. Zara moved like a shadow, silent, smooth, and careful. She didn't speak. Ravi followed her steps closely, trying not to trip or make noise. Every now and then, he saw her glance back, checking. If he was still there, after walking for 2 hours, they reached a small clearing. Zara stopped and crouched. Tracks, she said quietly. Ravi stepped closer. He saw strange footprints, large and wide, with 3 long toes. The dirt around them was burned slightly, as if by heat. What is it? He asked Firebeast. Rare, but deadly. Ravi looked around, heart pounding. Should we move? Zara nodded. Fast. Stay close. They continued moving through the forest. The path was narrow and filled with sharp plants. Ravi got a small cut on his arm, but didn't say anything. He didn't want to seem weak. By midday, the sun barely touched the ground. The forest was too thick. Zara finally stopped near a rocky hill. We rest here for now. Ravi sat down. On a flat stone, taking a deep breath. His legs were tired, and his back ached from carrying the small pack of supplies. Zara sat nearby, sharpening her blade with a smooth stone. Ravi watched her. She was calm and focused, as if this was normal for her. Have you done this before? He asked. She didn't look at him. Twice. Once for training, once for punishment. Punishment? Ravi asked, surprised. Zara's eyes were cold. I disobeyed an order to save a child. The council said I broke rules, so they sent me here for 3 days. I came out on the 4th. Ravi was quiet for a moment. Then he said, sounds like you're brave. Zara paused. Her eyes met his. Sounds like you don't know me? They sat in silence after that. The forest moved slightly, like it was breathing. Strange bird-like creatures flew above, making clicking sounds. Suddenly a loud roar shook the trees. Zara stood up quickly, blade in hand. That's not far. What is it? Ravi asked, standing as well. Fire beast? Hunting. They moved again, this time faster. Zara led him through thick trees, across a small river and up a hill. They found a small cave near the top and hid inside. The roar came again, much closer this time. Ravi saw a shadow pass by the cave entrance. A huge shape, glowing slightly orange. He held his breath. Zara held up a hand, signaling him to stay still. They waited for many minutes before the sound faded away. When it was safe, Zara sat down again. She looked at Ravi. You didn't panic, she said. I was too scared to move, he replied honestly. She gave the smallest smile barely there. It's real. That's smart, she said. For the first time, there was a little warmth in her voice. They ate a small meal made from dried fruit and water. Then they rested. As the stars appeared in the sky above the forest, Ravi looked out from the cave. The land was full of danger, but also beauty. Glowing plants danced in the wind. Silent lights floated in the air like fireflies. He turned to Zara. You said the trial is about honor. What if I'm just here by mistake? What if I'm not meant to be tested? Zara looked at him carefully. Every step on this world is a test, even by mistake. Ravi nodded slowly. Her words were true. As the night grew deeper, he closed his eyes and whispered to himself, 1 day done. 6 more to go. The second day in the dark zone began before the sun rose. Cold wind blew through the small cave where Ravi and Zara had rested. Strange bird cries echoed from the trees outside. When Ravi opened his eyes, he saw Zara already standing near the entrance. Staring out at the forest, she moved like she had never slept. We move now, she said without turning. The fire beast may return. Ravi got up quickly. His body was sore from walking and sleeping on hard rock, but he didn't complain. He followed her out of the cave and into the misty forest once again. The ground was damp. Every step made a soft squish. Above them, thick leaves blocked most of the light. Strange flowers glowed in patches of blue and red. Ravi saw small creatures peeking from the trees. Some looked like flying lizards, others like floating jellyfish. It was both beautiful and dangerous. As they walked, Ravi tried to speak. Why do you call this place the Dark Zone? Is it just because of the trees? Zara didn't stop walking. Not just the trees. Long ago, something happened here. War machines were tested. Energy storms burned the land. The forest grew back, but not in the same way. Ravi looked around. So, it's alive in a different way? Zara gave a short nod. Yes, the forest listens. It remembers pain.
Ow!
They kept walking for hours. At one point, Ravi slipped on a moss-covered rock and nearly fell. Zara turned and caught him before he hit the ground. Her grip was strong. Ravi blinked in surprise. Thanks. She'll let go quickly. Watch your steps. Oh. The forest is not your friend. They reached a clearing around midday. The air was still and the ground was flat, but something felt wrong. Zara paused. Too quiet, she whispered suddenly. The ground trembled. From beneath the dirt, long vine-like arms shot upward, wrapping around Ravi's leg. She shouted. As he was pulled down, a large plant creature burst from the ground. It had no face, only a wide mouth filled with sharp red thorns. Zara moved without hesitation. She drew a short spear from her back and slashed at the vines. The creature screeched and pulled back. Ravi struggled, trying to cut the vines with his small knife. They were strong. Zara spun and stabbed the base of the plant. A thick green liquid oozed out. The creature shrank and sank back into the earth. The vines loosened and Ravi rolled away, breathing hard. That was awful, he said, brushing dirt off his shirt. Zara didn't answer. She looked at the ground where the plant had disappeared. Traproot, she said. Old defense biotech left from the war. Ravi sat on a rock, trying to calm down. Shh. Is this how every day is going to be? Zara looked at him. If you're lucky. She handed him a water pod. He took it gratefully. Later, they found an old path made of broken stone, covered in moss and vines. Zara studied it. This is not natural. Someone used to live here. Humans. Ravi asked. Maybe. Or ancient Valeri. They followed the path. Soon they saw a stone structure in the distance, half broken, with large carvings on the walls. It looked like a temple or a lab. Vines covered most of it, but some symbols still glowed faintly. Zara touched the wall. This is very old. Examined one of the carvings. It showed two beings standing together. One looked like a Valeri, the other, a human. Wait, he said. That's us, isn't it? Zara stared at the image. Cannot be. Our history says we met humans. Only recently. But this looks like a human, and they're working together. Zara was silent for a long moment. Then she said some truths are buried, like this place. They explored the ruins. Inside they found broken machines, shattered glass, and rusted doors. On one wall they saw writing. Part of it was in the Valeri language, part in Earth's old alphabet. Ravi read aloud. Together we rise, divided we fall. Zara looked at him. Your people wrote that? It seems like it, Ravi replied. Maybe we were allies once. They sat in the ruins and ate a small meal. Zara stared at the old carvings, thoughtful. Ravi could tell something had changed in her. Finally, she spoke. You are not what I expected. What did you expect? Ravi asked. Weakness, fear, lies. But you adapt. You think. Ravi smiled a little. I think because I'm scared most of the time. Zara raised an eyebrow. Fear is not weakness. It makes you careful. For the first time, Ravi saw softness in her voice. She wasn't just a cold warrior anymore. She was curious too. That night, they made a camp near the old building. They used branches and stones to build a small shelter. Zara kept watch while Ravi rested. But Ravi couldn't sleep. He looked up at the sky through a hole in the trees. Stars twinkled quietly above. He whispered, Why were humans erased from your history? He didn't expect an answer, but Zara replied softly, Because someone feared your return. Ravi turned toward her. Who? I don't know, she said. But I will find out. The night was quiet, but their minds were full of questions. They had come into the dark zone as strangers, almost enemies. Now, something was changing. Trust was growing, slowly but surely, and deep in the heart of Theox. The forest listened once again. The third day in the dark zone began with strange silence. Usually, the forest was full of sounds, bird calls, wind through trees, the rustle of small creatures. But that morning, everything was still. No sound, no movement. Even the air felt heavy. Ravi sat up and looked around. Their small camp was untouched, but something didn't feel right. Zara was already awake. Sitting at the edge of the shelter, she was sharpening her blade with slow, careful strokes. Why is it so quiet today? Ravi asked Dot. Shar stopped for a moment. The forest is warning us. Something is near. They packed their things quickly and moved away from the old ruins. As they walked, Ravi kept checking behind them. Every tree seemed to lean closer. Glowing plants had dimmed. Even the insects had disappeared. Is it the fire beast again? Ravi whispered. No, Zara replied. This is different. Older. Hidden. They moved slowly through the forest, following a narrow path between thick roots. After an hour, they came to a small stream. The water was dark, but clean. Zara knelt down to refill their water pod. Suddenly, the ground under her foot gave way. Zara cried out as the rock below crumbled. She slipped and fell down a steep slope, vanishing into the bushes below. Zara! Ravi shouted, rushing forward. He looked down and saw her lying still at the bottom of the slope, surrounded by thick vines and broken stones. She wasn't moving. Without thinking, Ravi slid down the slope, grabbing branches and roots to slow his fall. He reached her side and checked her quickly. Her breathing was steady, but her leg was twisted, and there was a deep cut on her arm. Zara, can you hear me? Her eyes opened slowly. I'm fine, she whispered, though her face showed pain. No, you're not, Ravi said. Your leg might be broken. She tried to sit up, but winced and stopped. Leave me. Go on alone. Ravi shook his head. Not happening. He took out the small medical kit from his pack. It wasn't much, just some wraps, herbs, and a few healing pads. He cleaned her wound carefully, wrapped her arm, made a splint for her leg, using straight branches and cloth. Zara watched him silently. You've done this before? She asked. A little, Ravi said. My mother was a doctor. She taught me some things. After finishing, he looked at her. You need to rest. I'll carry the supplies. She didn't argue. That surprised Ravi. They stayed under the trees for most of the day. Zara rested against a rock, while Ravi gathered fruits and built a small fire. He tried to cook something. With the help of heat stones and a flat metal plate he had found in the ruins, it didn't taste great, but it was warm. Shara ate slowly. You're not a warrior, but you're strong in another way. Ravi smiled. Thanks. I think. She looked at him seriously. On my world, we are taught to fight, to win, but not to care. That was seen as weakness. But here, with you, I'm learning something else. Ravi didn't know what to say. He just nodded and stared into the small fire. That night, they stayed in the same place. Zara couldn't walk far. Ravi built a shelter using large leaves and vines. He tied branches into a roof to keep out the rain. It started to drizzle. Inside the shelter, Zara leaned back, her injured leg stretched out. Why did you choose this mission? She asked suddenly. Ravi looked up. Because I wanted to see the stars. I wanted to know what was out there, even if it meant danger. Yes, he said quietly. Even then, Zara was silent for a while. Then she said, my brother wanted peace. He tried to talk to the council, to open doors between our worlds. They didn't listen. He died in a border raid last year. Ravi looked at her. I'm sorry. She nodded once. He would have liked you. It was the kindest thing she had said to him since they met. The next morning, Zara tried to stand. With Ravi's help, she walked a little, leaning on a stick like a crutch. Slowly, they moved forward again. The land began to change. The trees grew thinner, and the ground became rocky. Strange symbols were carved into stones along the path. Some looked human, others were Valeri symbols. What is this place? Ravi asked. Shar touched one of the stones. This was once a road, a shared path between our kinds, long forgotten. They followed the path until they reached an old bridge, half broken, hanging over a deep canyon. Below, mist moved like water. The wind howled through the gap. We have to cross, Zara said. Ravi looked at the weak ropes and broken wood. Are you sure? She nodded. No choice. We're being followed. Ravi felt a chill. By what? I don't know. But it's close. They moved across the bridge slowly. Ravi went first, testing each step. The wood creaked, but held. He helped Zara across, holding her hand tightly. Halfway over, something howled behind them. A dark shape appeared at the edge of the trees. It wasn't the fire beast. It was something worse, tall, shadow-like, with red eyes and long arms. It didn't walk. It floated, and its body flickered like smoke. Move, Zara shouted. They hurried across the rest of the bridge. As soon as they reached the other side, Ravi grabbed a large branch and used it to push the weak ropes off the final posts. The bridge collapsed behind them, falling into the misty canyon below. The shadow creature stopped at the edge, staring at them. Then, slowly, it faded into the trees. Breathing hard, Ravi sat down. What was that? He asked. Zara sat beside him, face pale, an ancient watcher left from the old wars. They guard forgotten places. Ravi looked at her. Why is it following us? Zara's eyes met his. Because we're getting close to something someone doesn't want us to find. The morning after the bridge fall was cold and cloudy. Mist covered the canyon, and the sky above looked gray. Ravi and Zara sat on a large stone, catching their breath. The memory of the shadow creature still sat heavy in their minds. Zara stretched her injured legs slowly. It's healing, but not fast enough. Ravi nodded. We'll move slow. I'll help. She looked at him, then gave a quiet reply. Thank you. It was a small moment, but for Ravi, it meant a lot. The strong Valeri warrior who once warned him not to touch her was now trusting him with her life. After a short rest, they began walking along the canyon's edge. The land was rocky and steep, but Ravi helped Zara stay balanced. The path led them into a narrow tunnel made of dark stone. Glowing moss lit the walls with green light as they moved deeper into the tunnel. The air grew colder. There's something down here, Zara said, her hand on her blade. Ravi looked around. Do you feel it too? Yes, she whispered, like we're being watched. Suddenly the ground shook. Dust fell from the ceiling. A loud cracking noise echoed through the tunnel. Get down, Zara shouted. A giant shape burst through. The wall beside them, a massive creature with 4 arms, glowing yellow eyes, and metal plates across its back. It looked like a mix of machine and beast. What is that? Ravi shouted, backing away. An old war mutant, Zara said, gripping her blade, made during the last great battle. These things were buried, but some still live underground. Duh. Creature roared and swung one of its arms. Zara rolled to the side, but Ravi was thrown back, hitting the wall hard. Pain shot through his back, but he stayed awake. Zara attacked the beast, slicing across its leg. Sparks flew. The creature growled and turned toward her. She dodged again, moving fast, but her injured leg slowed her. Ravi stood up, breathing hard. He looked around for anything he could use. His eyes landed on a broken pipe sticking from the wall. He ran to it and pulled with all his strength. It snapped off with a loud crack. The creature lunged at Zara. She fell backward, blade raised. Hey, Ravi shouted, running forward with the metal pipe. The creature turned just in time for Ravi to jab the pipe into its glowing eye. The light flickered, and the beast screamed in pain. It spun wildly, hitting the walls, shaking the tunnel. Move, now, Zara yelled. They ran down the tunnel, limping and coughing from dust. Behind them, the mutant slammed into the wall, causing a part of the tunnel to collapse. Stones fell, sealing the path behind them. Silence followed. Ravi dropped the pipe and fell to his knees. That was too close. Zara sat down beside him, her face pale but calm. You fought well. Looked at her. You too. But if that thing was guarding the tunnel, what was it protecting? Zara pointed ahead. Let's find out. They walked deeper, and the tunnel soon opened into a wide underground chamber. Old machines stood in corners, covered in dust and vines. A large control panel with blinking lights sat in the center. Ravi approached carefully. Screens flickered, showing strange symbols. Zara wiped dust from a nearby table and found a symbol she recognized. This is from the Unity program. Ravi blinked. The what? Secret plan? Zara said. From before the war? It was meant to unite Valerie and human scientists, but it was cancelled, or so we were told. They both stared at the panel. A small screen turned on, showing a message. Project Unity status. Failed. Last entry, 174 years ago. Zara pressed a button, and the message continued. If you are reading this, we did not succeed. The council ended the program, but we believed in peace. If others still believe, let this place be the beginning again. Ravi felt goosebumps. On his arms, they tried to stop the war. They were silenced. Zara nodded slowly. Our history never told us this. They erased it. They searched the room and found drawings, maps, and records showing Valerian humans working together, building technology to stop the war, not fuel it. Ravi picked up a metal badge with 2 hands, shaking one human, one Valeri. This changes everything, he said. Zara looked serious. We can't go back empty-handed. We need proof. Ravi nodded. We'll take these records. We'll show the council. Zara touched the screen again, and a final message played this time. A voice recording. A deep voice spoke. If peace ever has a chance again, it will come from those who are not afraid to trust. Even enemies can become protectors, Zara. Looked at Ravi. For a long moment she said nothing. Then in a soft voice, she said, "Maybe. I was wrong about you." Ravi gave a small smile. You weren't the only one with doubts. They packed the data into a small container. As they turned to leave, the lights in the room dimmed. Behind them, a low sound echoed through the chamber. Ravi froze. What now? Zara's eyes narrowed. Someone, or something, has followed us. A shadow moved near the tunnel entrance. It wasn't the mutant from before. It was tall, cloaked in metal armor, with glowing red eyes. More followed behind it. Zara stepped in front of Ravi. Not watchers, not beasts. These are Sentinels, old guards from the war. It's programmed to destroy intruders. We need to run, Ravi said. Zara looked at the maps. There's a second exit back path to the forest. This way. They ran, the sound of heavy metal feet behind them. Zara limped, but she pushed forward. Ravi held her arm, supporting her as they rushed through a narrow door and into another tunnel. The chase had begun. And now, with the truth in their hands, escape was more important than ever. The air was thick with dust and tension as Ravi and Zara raced through the underground tunnels. Behind them, heavy footsteps echoed metallic, powerful, relentless. The Sentinels were closing in. Zara's injured leg slowed her, but Ravi held her arm tight. They rounded a corner, and ahead, a faint light flickered. It was the only hope of escape. This way, Zara urged, leading him through a narrow passage that opened into a large cavern. The cavern was filled with glowing crystals, casting blue light on the walls. Strange machines hummed softly, some broken, some alive with faint energy. Ravi's eyes widened. What is this place? Zara caught her breath. The heart of the ancients. It's the old laboratory where humans and Valeri once worked together. Ravi stepped closer to a large console. The screen flickered weakly, showing lines of data in both Valeri and human scripts. We found the truth, Ravi said softly. Now, we need to use it. Suddenly, the Sentinels appeared at the cavern entrance. They blocked the way, weapons raised. Zara raised her blade and stood tall. We won't go back without this knowledge. Ravi looked around and noticed a control panel near the ceiling. Help me reach that panel. It might open another way. Zara nodded. Together, they climbed a stack of crates. Ravi stretched his arm to press a hidden switch. A section of the wall slid open, revealing a narrow tunnel lit by a soft white glow. Go, Ravi said. They hurried inside as the Sentinels fired warning shots that pinged off the stone walls. The tunnel was tight, forcing them to move single file. After a long crawl, they emerged into a dense forest. The sunlight was warm on their faces. We made it, Ravi whispered. Zara looked back toward the cave entrance. They won't follow here. They moved quickly through the forest, carrying the ancient data with care. The carvings and recordings they had found told a different story from the one the Valeri Council taught. Long ago, humans and Valeri had been allies, sharing knowledge and strength. A great enemy had forced them apart. But the leaders chose fear and control over peace. Ravi looked at Zara. We have to tell everyone. If they hear the truth, maybe things will change. Zara nodded slowly. It will not be easy. Many will resist. As they neared the edge of the dark zone, they stopped by a quiet stream. Zara sat down, still limping, and looked at Ravi. Why do you fight for peace? Your people have been hurt by many wars. Ravi thought for a moment. Because I believe in something better. I believe humans can change. We are not perfect, but we are not weak. We can learn from others. Zara smiled faintly. I see that now. The next day they returned to the Valeri city. The council awaited their arrival, stern and silent. Zara stepped forward and presented the data. She spoke clearly. Our history is not as we were told. Humans and Valeri once stood together. There is proof here, the council murmured. Some faces showed shock, others anger. One elder spoke harshly. This is treason. You bring lies to weaken our people. Zara met his gaze. The truth is not a lie. It is our strength. Ravi stepped beside her. We don't want war. Want friendship? To build a future together? The council debated for hours. Finally, a decision was made to open talks with Earth based on the new truth. Zara turned to Ravi. Touch me once more, human. Not as a challenge, but as a friend. Ravi smiled and gently touched her hand. The room filled with applause. The story of two worlds, once divided by fear, had found a new path, one built on trust, courage, and the strength to change. 2 weeks had passed since Ravi and Zara returned. From the Dark Zone, the city of the Valeri had changed. At first, there was tension. Some Valeri elders still didn't trust humans. Others feared change. But the proof from the ancient lab maps, the carvings, and the message recordings could not be denied. History had been hidden, and now the truth had a voice. Zara stood with Ravi on the steps of the central tower. All around them, Valeri citizens gathered. Their eyes were filled with curiosity and questions. Elder Theox stood in front of the crowd. His voice was deep and calm. For many years, we believed we were alone in our strength. We feared others would weaken us. But fear is not wisdom. Today, we face the truth. Long ago, Valeri and humans worked together. They dreamed of peace. That dream was buried. Until now. He turned to Ravi. You brought us proof? Not with weapons, but with courage. Then he looked at Zara. And you, warrior, defended not only our traditions, but also a greater truth. The crowd was silent. Zara stepped forward and spoke in a clear, proud voice. I once believed humans were weak. I was wrong. Strength is not always in the sword. Sometimes it is in the heart. She turned to Ravi and gave him a small nod. The people listened. Some looked confused. Some looked inspired. Later that day, Ravi sat with Zara near the quiet garden outside the city. Walls. Bright blue flowers bloomed along the path. Wind carried the sweet smell of fruit trees. I never thought I'd see this, Ravi said. Valerian humans talking about unity. Zara gave a small smile. You helped open that door. It's not over, Ravi said. Some people still don't trust us. Zara nodded. Change takes time, but we've started the path. Ravi looked at her thoughtfully. What will happen to the Sentinels in the Dark Zone? In the ancient lab, the Council is sending a peace team. Humans and Valeri. Together. To study and protect the place. You will be invited. Ravi smiled. I'd like that. Zara stood and stretched her leg. It had healed, though she still walked with a slight limp. I'll go with you, she said, to help guide and protect the team. Ravi was surprised. You'd leave your home for that? She looked at him. My home is where I can build peace, not just where I was born. That evening, a small celebration was held in the city square. It was not loud or grand, but it was meaningful. Humans and Valeri stood side by side. They shared food, music, and stories. Laughter filled the air. Children from both species played games together. They didn't see difference, only friendship. Elder Theox raised a glowing crystal in the air. Let this be the first night of the new bond, he said. Let history begin again, with truth, with honor, and with hope. The crowd clapped and cheered. Ravi and Zara stood at the edge of the square, watching everything unfold. It's working, Ravi said quietly. Zara nodded. It's only the beginning. The next morning, Ravi walked to the transport center, where a ship waited to return him to the human space station. He would carry the ancient data, the new agreement, the message of peace to Earth. Zara was there to say goodbye for now. Are you sure you'll come later? Ravi asked. She nodded. I gave my word. I keep it. Ravi looked into her calm, strong eyes. He remembered the first time they met, her warning voice, the cold stare, the threat in her words. Touch me once, and I won't spare you, human, she had said. Now her voice was steady but warm. You touched my world, Ravi, and changed it. Ravi smiled. And you changed mine? They stood in silence for a moment. Then Zara extended her hand open with trust. Ravi took it. No fear. No anger. Just understanding. The ship rose into the sky, carrying Ravi back to Earth. But the story was far from over. It would be told again and again how a human and a Valeri, once strangers and near enemies, walked through the darkness together and found the light of a new future. And from two brave hearts a new chapter began.